to you. You touching me. And everyone tells us what we can be.
You, just you, building your app on base 44.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Tutorlini Test Prep. Today we will be going over 7 hard problems for October 2023 DSAT. Problem set day number 2. The goal of the problem set day series is to provide an original worksheet of challenging problems. We got an equation of a circle, so we definitely got to know that for our test. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the circle, it has a center of, there's a minus in front of the h and k, so you got to remember to change the sign. So lots of people would say 3, -8, but that's wrong. it's -3, comma, +8. Okay, great. And the radius is the square root of whatever is over here, because this guy is r squared. So the radius would be 5. So it says line K is tangent to the circle at 1, 5. So something you got to understand, I've gone over this in previous videos, is that the radius and the tangent line are perpendicular to one another. So they form a 90-degree angle. So we're going to calculate the slope of the radius using the slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And it's formed by, I don't really need this radius of 5 right now. So why don't I just put the point of tangent C, I'll just write that here. Is on the circle, which is 1, 5. So we're going to use those 2 points. Why don't I call the first one x1, y1, and the second one x2, y2. Okay, so y2 minus y1, so 5 minus 8 over x2 minus x1, 1 minus -3. I can put that in a calculator, and I should get -3/4. So that is the slope of the radius. And remember we said they cross at a right angle. They're perpendicular. So the line will have a perpendicular slope, which is the opposite reciprocal. So you flip it and change the sign. So 3/4 becomes 4/3. And it was negative, so instead of negative, we make it positive. So flip it and change the sign. So the perpendicular line K has a slope of 4/3. That was the really big thing we needed to put together. Now it just becomes a lines question. So we need to come up with the equation of this line. Why don't I use point slope? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And just because I want to make this easy to type into Desmos later, I'm going to modify the point slope. I'm going to move the y1 over to the other side by adding it. And now we can put these numbers in. So it has a perpendicular slope of 4/3, and it goes through the point of tangency, which is 1, 5. So that'll be our x1, y1. So let me label that. Great, so y, or k of x, is equal to 4/3 x minus 1, because that's x1, plus 5.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making by showing you how much traffic they're getting, where the traffic's coming from, and even which social media platform.
That should be our equation. And now we can, it says, what is the value of x when k of x equals 12? So we're going to replace k of x with 12. And then just start doing some algebra. So I'm going to subtract 5, and I get 7. I'm gonna divide both sides by 4/3, and I get 7 divided by 4/3. 21 over 4 equals x minus 1. And now I'm gonna add 1 to both sides. And I get 25 over 4, which is the same. Since it terminates nicely, I don't really mind using the decimal. 6.25. So either of those would be acceptable. We did it. Squared a little.
AI agents. Well, hey, don't be scared. Here's how Monday.com makes agents clear.
The center, and I'm going to label that with a C. And the point of tangency is 1, 5, and I'll label that with a little t. And we can draw the radius by using this function. Not that important. Maybe that only works in the geometry. There's a way to do it. I'm not going to do it right now. Let's see, and now we can type in the equation of the line. So k of x equals 4/3 x minus 1 plus 5. And if I zoom in here, it certainly looks like it's perpendicular to that radius. I didn't draw it, but it definitely looks like it goes through that circle at just that one point. So I think we did a good job. So now the question says k of x equals 12. So you can either type in k of x equals 12 or y equals 12. And we can see where it crosses line k, which is at x equals 6.25. So it kind of looks like we did a good job. I mean, we still had to know a lot of these concepts, but making the picture kind of as you go, just cut out. Okay, so there's a graph here. And this question is talking about average rate of change. To find average rate of change, all you're going to do is you're just going to use the slope formula on the endpoints. So it says the average rate of change sold on February. February 4th, I should highlight just that part. February 4th to February 8th. Okay, so February 4th, it's days after February 1st. So 4 minus 1 is 3, and 8 minus 1 is 7. So we need to go from x is 3 to x is 7 to find this guy, A. So let's do that. So 3 is here, so that's x is 3, see? And then 7 is here. And just so that I don't make a mistake, we're going to write 3 after February 1st. So 4 minus 1 is 3. 8 minus 1 is 7. So we need to go from x is 3 to x is 7 to find this guy, A. So let's do that. So 3 is here. So that's x is 3, see? And then 7 is here. And just so that I don't make a mistake, we're going to write down those points. So let's just do, for the first one, for A, the points are 3, 4, and 7, 11. And now we're going to use the slope formula on the endpoints, which will tell us the average rate of change, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. For this one, that's going to look like 11 minus 4. You can label them like I did before. 7 minus 3. So that should be 7 over 4, I think.
I'm in high school and I have absolutely no idea what I want to do for my career. And that's what I would have said if I never used Futurescape.
You can do that on a calculator. Just going to check really quick. 11 minus 4 over 7 minus 3. Yep, that looks good. And now for B, we want the average rate of change, same thing, but from February 7th to February 11th. Okay, February 1st is the starting point. So 7 minus 1 is 6. And then 11 minus 1 is 10. So we want to go from 6 to 10. Why don't I use a different color? So x is 6 is here, and x is 10 is here. So we are now going to find the slope of that line. That will tell us the average rate of change. So let's write down those 2 points. So B is 10 points. So, okay, so A is 7/4 and B is 3. And now it says all this business about the number B is P% greater than the number A. So we're basically trying to find, you could divide them and find the percent multiplier. You could also, when you have two numbers and you want to find the percent change between them, you can use the percent change formula. So new minus old divided by old times 100. So for this one, we're going to call the new, it's a percent greater, right? So we're going to call the new one the bigger one. So the 3 is the new. So 3 minus old 7/4 over 7/4 times 100. That's a lot of math. I'm definitely not, forgot to change back, sorry guys. I'm definitely not, I'll just let you look at this for a second. So I'm definitely not going to, do that in my head. So let's go back to Desmos. I'll remember to change it back this time. So 3 minus 7/4 over 7/4 times 100. And it wants us to round to the nearest hundredth. So 71.43 would be our answer. That's our value for P. Great, that's it. So 2 things you had to know how to do here. I mean, a lot of things, I guess. You don't have to put the percent symbol ever on your student-produced response. You just put 71.43. I just wrote it there. So the percent change is 71.43%, so P would be 71.43. you had to know the average rate of change, how to find the average rate of change, which is something they have.
I'm here with Big Blue AJ. How would you like to be in a TikTok with you?
Tell you what, the fellow right now, Casey, let's make it 10,000. Smash that like button and bring the boom.
I'm here with Big Blue AJ. How would you like?
If you're taking the August SAT, this is math should take you under 30 seconds. Save this video to find out how. So we are given a right cylinder with the radius r and a height h, and the second cylinder that's not shown is one that's 3 times larger. Okay. If you're taking the August SAT, this SAT math question should take you under 30 seconds. Save this video to find out how. So we are given a right cylinder with the radius r and a height h, and the second cylinder that's not shown one is 3 times larger. Okay. We are finding the radius and the height of that larger one in terms of the smaller radius and the smaller height. Okay. So first, what's the volume of a cylinder? Okay. Well, the volume is always going to be pi r squared h, because pi r squared is the area of a circle, and you're stacking the circles, right? So what's the height? That's h. Now add a slider for this, and always change these from 0 or 1 to any number. Okay, these like 2 and 3 for 10. Now that we have that in place, let's test it out. So first of all, with 392b, this is the volume of the bigger cylinder, okay? And then put a tail u, and then put pi, uppercase r squared, uppercase h. Now, if uppercase r is equal to 8 lowercase r, or 16, then the height is like a decimal. But the height is supposed to be 7h, but 7h is 21. It's not this value. That means the a is wrong, and we can't use b because, again, 49h is not 18.375. So get rid of answer options A and B. Now let's do C, okay? For C, R equals 7R. That's 14, and H is 24. That's the key thing, okay? What is 8 times H? That's also 24, so our answer is answer option C. If you're taking the August SAT, this SAT math question should take you under 30 seconds. Save this video to find out how. So we're given a right cylinder with a radius r and a height h, and the second cylinder that's not shown one is 3 times larger, okay? We are finding the radius and the height of that larger one in terms of the smaller radius and the smaller height, okay? So first, what's the volume of a cylinder, okay? Well, the volume is always going to be pi r squared h, because pi r squared is the area of a circle, and you're stacking the circles, right? So what's the height?
49 times 8.
Now add a slider for this, and always change these from 0 or I got into Harvard and they rescinded my admission, and now I would like to sue them.
Academic doping.
My friend's prescription grew later at all, and I'm still studying super busy taking SAT and doing this. Some people
I got you.
yeah, for the sword, that's accepted to Harvard, which is fairly newsworthy given I went to your average small town public school. I did an interview with Will Weaver, where I was quoted as saying, "I'm to God say, but keep testing me," and started flipping the comment sections. Everyone was nod, lots of papers picked up, and suddenly I'm in the middle of this controversy at Harvard. So no, so they rescind my offer of admission. I will take controlled substance abuse protection. Actually, it's a study. So what would you like us to do? They say no. But in chief, I took medicine to help my brain function at its highest level. I got a prescription to medication. And that's faculty members at Cambridge University admit to taking unprescribed Adderall to improve their own academic performance. But no easy selling that. That can't get just pull one pack. Let me check that. Helicopter pilots take prescription stimulants to stay alert. Medical interns take drugs for narcolepsy so that they can work all night and I hope that as well. All they've done is use pharmacological tools so that they can do their work more effectively.
So you're aware that Margaret is screening on time.
Of course.
John Kennedy was right.
That's supposed to be tomorrow.
FDR.
Taylor Swift press secretary.
Numerous literary figures. Emerson, Thoreau.
And the Cardinal Archbishop who shielded child molesters from prosecution for faculty who had Timothy Leary in his LSD experiments.
Miss Coggins, do you want to go to Harvard or not?
I do. My point is, Harvard's not perfect, but neither am I. But at every opportunity, I endeavor to be the best possible version of myself. That's all I was doing by taking River.
Let's be fair. It's not just the SAT that gets a person admitted.
Of course not.
Margie, in fact, is also a national merit finalist, captain of her swim team, class valedictorian.
We get applications from thousands of national merit finalists, thousands of captains, and thousands of departments.
But this one you offered admission.
Yes, until she admitted she used brain enhancement drugs.
As to thousands of others you call. No, and there's actually no policy at all that explicitly admitting what you term academic doping.
I'm in future.
So you intend to report future mistakes to the press.
We consider our actions feasible, and we reserve our right to make our admissions decisions accordingly.
These were deadlines. There isn't a long-term active analysis requiring your analysis and SAT can monitor his reasoning. But we can take a stand against what's unreasonable. Defend it as acceptable and fair. Simply put, what Margie Coggins did was decidedly unfair. Yes, she did not give the actions of Harvard. Harvard gets over 90% acceptance. That's 90% of the best high school students. The rest don't even bother applying. The problem is every parent wants their kid to go to Harvard. Parents push that just on the cake. The climate we created 8% of honors and advanced business students. She did not want to sacrifice that on a regular basis. She did that just yes, ahead of time. She did not have a newspaper. She used her own brain. Yes, she used her special stimulant to stay focused. And 30% of her college students have been doing the same thing. Now, there are hardly no laws against it. There are hardly no rules. We stand to up your pervasive drug culture. We have medications not just to treat diseases, but simply to help you think better. We have sense for making digestion. We've got some tools to get you guys to sleep better, like more productive, like brain chemistry. What we're talking about here is she's long way finding tools. Brain power. She didn't have prescription. True, but she's a she's a physician. She didn't get college. She was simply honest about it. Honesty, that's the impression. Getting her bounce on moral character grounds. Hypocrisy might be a better word. Margie, I can't solve the ingredient against the debate. But in this case, Clay didn't have a prescription, but she did. So I am not going to Margie and say her journey.
I got to Harvard, and they.
Five things not to trust us. Number one. Just know if we don't have that, we like we bring the next man slower and slower.
Yeah, so you can solve this question on the math SAT. Remember everything lateral triangle 620%. Right? This triangle is case 30 centimeters per case possible. What if I can? So the first thing we're gonna do is try and draw this triangle 6 centimeters. So the lateral triangle is down here at angles of 60 degrees, right? We're drawing this line here for the main triangle, which we're told was case 32, right? Now, from here, this is a right angle, right? Which is 90 degrees. We know that this angle right here is going to be 60 degrees otherwise. And this up top was originally 60 degrees. This is cut right in half, and now is 30 degrees, right? So now we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And what we know about 30, 60, 90 triangles, we know their side length rules straight. That's what the SAT refugee if you ever get that, right? So 30, 60, 90 triangle, the side length is x squared, right, for the longer leg, k for the shorter leg, and 2k for the hypotenuse, right? So the hypotenuse of this 30, 60, 90 triangle is 2k. It's equilateral triangle, then that means that each side is going to be 2k, right? So now we know that each side is 2k, and
624 divided by 3. 208 divided by 2. 104. 146.
is 624. It's just going to be the sum of all these sides, right? So 624 equals 2k plus 2k plus 2k, right? So 2k times 2, right? So that's just going to be 624 equals 6k, right? Dividing each side by 6, we have k equals 100. And that's what we can solve this problem extremely quickly. I got a 59 in the S.
you had to know change between two or other.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards.
3. Okay, this is a tricky quadratics question. So I noticed that it says b must be an integer, so like a whole number, and b has to be between 2 and 5. But there's no equal to, so it doesn't include 2 or 5. So b either has to be, so 2, 3, 4, 5. It can't be 2 or 5. So b has to be either 3 or 4. So there's kind of two answers for this one, and we'll solve both of them. So we'll do the b equals 3 case and the b equals 4 case. All right, so this business here, it's basically telling you that the y value when x is negative 12 is equal to the y value when x is equal to 7. So parabolas are symmetrical. So if the y values are the same, those two guys are equidistant from the vertex. So what you can do is when you see a statement like this, you can average those two numbers, and it will tell you the number in the middle, the midpoint, which is the x-coordinate of the vertex, which we call h. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. It's very similar to when you take the two roots and average them to get h. You can also take any two equivalent two x values that yield the same y value and average them and get h. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to average them. So h is equal to negative 12 plus 7 over 2. I don't know what that is. Let me see. Okay, it's negative 2.5. I'll just use a decimal because it does work out pretty nicely. Okay. Now, you see we have b and h, and we want to find a. Well, there's a really helpful equation you have to know for standard form to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, and it's this. H equals negative b over 2a. So you see, we know what b is, and we know what h is. We want to be able to find a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this equation for a. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by by a, and I get ah equals negative b over 2. And now I'm going to divide both sides by h, and I get a equals negative b over 2h. So you see, lots of people are used to using this equation given a and b to find h, but they could give you any of those two letters and ask you to find the third letter. They could give you a and h and ask you to find b, or they could give you b and h and ask you to find a. So I think you can plug in numbers and stuff, but I think being able to do this like literal equation manipulation, that's probably something you want to know how to do. It's up to you, but me personally, I think it's easier to just move the letters, then start plugging in numbers, than the other way around. It's faster for me. Okay, great. So a equals negative b over 2h. So now we can just plug in b, and we'll get a very quickly. So we're going to do negative 3 over 2 times h is negative 2.5. And I'm getting 0.6. And then over here, a would be, if we do negative 4 over 2 times h, which is 2 times negative 2.5, I'm getting 0.8. So now the question wants us to find b minus a. So we're going to do that for each of them. 3 minus 0.6 gives me 2.4. You could also put the fraction equivalent. So that would be, you could put that answer. And then 4 minus 0.8, that would be 3.2. You could also put that as a fraction. And that could be your answer. So you don't have to put both of them. Notice how it just says what could be the value. So it wants to know like one possible value. Okay, so the answers for this guy are 2.4 or 3.2. Either is fine. You could also put the fractions. So couple really important things you need to understand. when you see this kind of function notation, you can, for a parabola, you can quickly deduce what the x-coordinate of the vertex h is by averaging the x values. And you had to know this guy here, h equals negative b over 2a. They ask you about this quite a bit these days. That is definitely something you want to know. I feel like most people, they do the easier questions just on Desmos, so they forget this. So make sure you know that. Could you graph all this stuff and do it on Desmos? Maybe a little bit, but you'd have to kind of, they don't give you y values for those points. So you'd have to like come up with your own. I don't know. It seemed way